Hi, welcome to new camper orientation for YMCA Camp Ihduhapi. We are super excited to have your camper out at camp this summer, and we hope that this presentation answers some questions that you may have so you can prepare for your camp experience. This is the agenda that we will cover, so feel free to jump around in the recording if there's something you'd like to skip ahead to, or feel free to watch the whole thing. My name is Jana Grazik. I'm the executive director out here at Camp Ihduhapi. I started my Y journey as a camper and then eventually became a full-time staff for the Y in 2014, running YMCA Camp Ihduhapi's day camp, then moved into the program director role for overnight camp, and then in 2021 came into this role as executive director. And I'm super honored to serve our community in this role and excited for another summer.
And hi everybody, I'm Grace Larson. I am the overnight program director for Ihduhapi. You might recognize me. I've been around at camp the past couple years as an assistant director, but I am very excited to be the overnight program director now. Yeah, so um,
All right, so Camp Ihduhapi has been around for almost 95 years now. The land was purchased in 1929. In 1930, the first summer session ran. They used to be 2-week sessions and all boys, so boys would jump on the train, a lot of them in South Minneapolis, and take it out to Loretto, hop into throw their bags into a car that would drive their luggage out to camp, and then they would walk out to camp from Loretto. So this is a fun picture of the old entrance, and actually these stone pillars are still at camp today. Um, and in sometime in the 70s, early 70s, we had the first session with girls, and now we are all genders.
so a little bit about our summer staff team. We have a great team of cabin counselors that are highly trained and they get background checks, reference checks, and a thorough interview process. They're also CPR first aid trained. So we have our cabin counselors. We also have an amazing support staff, like our assistant directors, our youth advocates, which work directly with campers and parents to make sure that we're setting up all campers for success and we're making sure that they're thriving when they're at camp. We have waterfront director, we have directors for our LDP and trips groups, and we also have some program area directors like art, nature, ropes, and horses, which is awesome. And something that helps our staff is when you fill out camp docs, just giving us as much information about your camper as possible, so we can give that information to our cabin staff and support staff through the week. So about our cabin groups are made a week before the session starts. And these cabin groups are based off of buddy requests, and they're also grouped by age. So we try to keep things within a 2-year age range. And we also group cabins by gender. There's typically 2 staff per cabin and around 8 campers per cabin. So our buddy requests are collected during registration. If you'd like to add a buddy request, you can contact customer service to add that. We usually keep the buddy requests in groups of 4 or smaller, just because camp is about meeting new people. Also, if you're coming with friends, it's a great way to hang out with those friends, but also to meet new people. So we try to keep those groups to be 4 or smaller for buddy requests, and also within 2 years of age, and also keeping those genders the same as well. And So arrival is on Sundays. Check-in runs from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. You'll be sent out an arrival time slot 2 weeks before camp in our pre-camp email. And if you have multiple campers of different ages, you can choose one time for drop-off. Whatever works best for your family is totally fine. Also, if you have any medications, have those labeled in a Ziploc bag with full name on that bag written out for a check-in to give to our health officer. And you will actually have the opportunity to walk campers to their cabin this summer. So during check-in, you will be directed to their cabin that your camper will be in, and you will have the opportunity to meet their counselors and see their cabin. And we would just ask that you keep that drop-off time to under 15 minutes to just kind of keep our parking lot available for other families that are trying to drop off campers. So on Sundays, our schedule is a little different than usual. It's mostly just onboarding our campers to what the week will look like. So here's an example on the left if you want to read that. We'll also have their swim tests on Sundays. So if we'll have those done on the first day. So for the rest of the week, they'll be able to swim for whatever needs they have. And then also they'll get to know like where the health center is and get to know the nurse for the week. And then cabins will also have the opportunity to sign up for things like chores throughout the week and gratitudes we have in the dining hall and things like that. And then this is our daily schedule. Feel free to pause and have a look at that. It is always subject to change, but this is typically what the day will look like. There'll be 4 achievements during the day, which is like our activity blocks, and then the rest of the day will look somewhat like this. We will have 4 activity slots throughout the day, like I mentioned before. These will typically consist of archery, swimming, boating, performing arts, sports, Ihduhapi, which is our camp newspaper, arts and crafts and nature. So when your camper arrives on Sunday, they will have the opportunity to rank their achievements in terms of preference of what they would like to do the most. And then our staff will work on putting together a schedule to get them in those achievements throughout the week. They will do those same 4 activities every day for the whole week. It's a great opportunity for them to meet people outside of their cabin and of different ages and just kind of see camp with new people. And we also have morning activities, which will run every day. We have polar bears, we have yoga, and we have road runners. And so if your camper decides to go to polar bears all week long, they will get a pin to show that they did that all week long. And then also, if you signed up for a specialty camp, which is horses or ropes, your camper will only be put into 2 of those activity preferences, and then the other half of the day they will be at their specialty camp programming, which is either, like I said, horses or ropes. And then also, campers will be doing either cookouts or overnights on Tuesday nights. Everybody will be eating outside for dinner. So typically, younger campers, roughly 10 or under, will not be sleeping outside overnight. And older campers, roughly 11 or older, will be sleeping in tents. So we can't guarantee that age range, but that is typically 10 and under will be not camping overnight, and 11 and older will be sleeping in tents. But everybody will be cooking out and having great bonding time with their cabins, and they'll be cooking that meal outside and also breakfast in the morning as well. And then our health officer will also prepare a med kit that they will bring out with them. And dietary restrictions will also be no issue for these overnights. So any gluten-free or dairy-free restrictions will be, you'll have the opportunity to have those meals during cookouts as well. And there will be a counselor supervising in the tent if there are overnights. So there will be at least 1 counselor sleeping in each camper tent for those nights. And theme days. So you'll be notified of the theme week in that pre-camp email. It might have a different schedule than what that daily schedule looks like. It won't be too crazy different, but it might be things like a carnival or a themed activity. And feel free to send your camper with a costume. You don't have to go out of your way to buy a bunch of fancy stuff, but even sending like a colored t-shirt or whatever you think would fit the theme. Some examples of themes we've done in the past are Greek mythology, Olympics, around the world, Hollywood, and fantasy.
All right, so for camp meals, each cabin eats in the dining hall unless they're out on their cookout. And we eat family style, so each cabin will have a table that they sit at throughout the week, and they'll send up a runner to grab the tray of food and bring it back to their table. We serve a variety of dietary accommodations. Those are, as mentioned, entered in the Camp Doc profile. So you can indicate if your camper is gluten-free, has specific allergies, etc. We do not offer any kind of peanuts or tree nuts in our kitchen, but still good to note that in your Camp Doc profiles. Typically during these meal times is when the health officer will do the med pass. So if your camper takes breakfast meds, lunch meds, dinner meds, those will happen in the dining hall. And then we will also, if you have a camper who has a 3 p.m. med or a med that doesn't align with a mealtime, those will still be handed out when that time comes. And then we also offer an evening snack. So before campfire, after the all camp game, campers can stop by the commons, the area, gathering area by the flagpoles outside the lodge for their evening snack. And then in the dining hall, we have a variety of traditions that are fun for and very campy. So the first one is before every meal, we do a gratitude. As mentioned earlier, each cabin has an opportunity to sign up to lead a gratitude. We also sing songs at the end of every meal. And then we have something called turtle tracks where cabins can write nice notes to each other. And those are typically read out loud in the dining hall. And then this is a time too where all of camp is gathering together. So we share specific announcements about changes to the schedule and anything else that they might need to know, updates about weather or any changes. As far as health and safety goes, we've referenced Camp Doc. So by now you should have received an invitation to fill out your camper's Camp Doc profile. In Camp Doc, you will enter any kind of prescription medication that your camper takes, as well as give us the okay to provide over-the-counter meds, or specify if they take over-the-counter meds on a regular basis. And just really be sure to double check the dosage amount so it's really clear when our health officer is organizing and handing those out. And then, as mentioned, all of those medicines, whether it's prescription or over the counter, any kind of medicine that you're bringing to camp, we will collect during drop off. And so please have that labeled in a Ziploc bag ready to go. If you forget, we have Ziploc bags, but those all medications, even if it's just like a melatonin or a vitamin, need to be collected and stored in our health office just for health and safety reasons. And then, as I mentioned, we have a health pro who will be at camp 24/7 with us for the session. That person is typically a registered nurse or an MD or a PA. Some other things that we do around health and safety, we ask that all campers and people around camp travel in truddies. So that means that you're traveling with a group of at least 3 people or more. We always have reminders about sunscreen, bug spray, filling up your water bottles, staying hydrated. We have extra sunscreen and bug spray and water bottles for if needed, if a camper forgets or if they run out. And then just a note, we prefer non-aerosol sunscreens and bug sprays. So if you are able to find just like the stick versions or cream versions, that's the best for us. And a reminder, please do a lice check on your camper prior to drop off. And then if there's lice found, of course, take care of that before coming to camp. But it's really helpful when parents and guardians help us with that part of check-in prior to camp. The other thing that a camper may end up in the health office for is just like a stomach ache sometimes, which often could be related to homesickness. It's not always related, but if it turns out that it is kind of related to homesickness, that's when we have our youth advocates step in. These youth advocates are trained in supporting camper mental health and emotional health, and they have a ton of experience handling and supporting campers who are feeling homesick. We would ask for your support in this, in not promising your camper that they can come home if they're feeling homesick during their session, just because it's super, super common for a camper to experience some homesickness, especially in the first couple days, especially that first night when maybe they don't know anyone yet, they haven't settled in. But we almost always can turn around a camper's week and help them create connections with their fellow campers, with their staff, with the activities that they're participating in. And so we just often need some time. But I promise you that if we are ever concerned about the overall well-being of your camper, we will definitely reach out to you and work with you to create a plan. We try our best to be in contact and call home more than we need to, but also no news is good news from us. And so don't expect to hear from us, but if you do, it's usually just trying to stay on top of anything that we see that could be concerning. But yeah, again, with homesickness, just a reminder that this is such a unique and amazing opportunity for young people to really experience some challenges, problem solving, independence away from parents, which they almost never have. And so we hope that you'll notice that in your camper when you pick them up, that they'll just have this sort of like I think parents talk about the change that they notice, and just like their camper feeling more independent and proud of their experience. So, um, yeah. So again, just it's really helpful for us if you can talk about homesickness with your camper and just really normalize it, ensure that they may experience it, but they're in a supportive environment with people who we have so many years of experience supporting campers with homesickness. So, and some campers just won't even feel it at all because they're busy and it's all very exciting. Um, a couple other things about health and safety. On Sunday, we do swim tests. So campers will be assigned a wristband based on their level of swimming ability. Um, they all have the option of wearing personal flotation devices if they'd like to, or if they don't pass the swim test, then they'll be required to wear those. And then our swim area is it's fairly small, and we do buddy checks really often. So they're constantly being counted and then asked to get out of the water and do a buddy check with their buddies. All right. We also have our camp store, which each cabin will visit one time during the week with their cabin group. The way that they can purchase things in the camp store is through a gift card process. And so you can go online prior to the session and purchase a gift card. This will show up in their account, and then our store manager will know how much they have to spend. We do not accept cash in our camp store anymore, so please do not send cash with your camper. There's nowhere that they can use that cash. We don't want it to be lost. And then the things that are in the camp store, there's no food. It's just camp t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, water bottles, stuffed animals, stickers. Things range in prices from about $2 up to maybe $45. So I would say you can make a decision. We don't really stress the camp store a lot. So if this is not something that's important to you, that is totally okay. Most important thing that campers can take away from camp is their memories and nothing they can buy. So keep that in mind. And then we will have the store open during checkout. So if you'd prefer to visit with your camper, you can do it then. And at that point, we can use credit card, but again, no cash, please. All right, so here's our packing list. This will go out to all of you in the pre-camp email, and then it's also in the family handbook as well as all of this information. So that can be another resource for you. And I would say biggest thing here is just please label everything. The campers are living, with 8 to 10 campers in their cabin, so things get. We try to as much as we try to keep things organized throughout the week and clean and orderly, sometimes things get misplaced. So the more things are labeled clearly, the better for us. Please don't bring anything like super expensive or fancy. They're probably going to get dirty. They're going to be outside. So keep that in mind when packing. And then I would consider bringing things like a journal and a pen, paper if people want to write home, books, small games. But again, things that, can be that aren't highly, highly valuable. And then do not bring any digital devices such as cell phones, smartwatches, music players, video games, etc. We also do not allow food or drinks other than water in the cabins, just because we don't want to end up having any kind of rodent issues or issues with allergies. And then, of course, you can kind of read the rest here, but fireworks, knives, personal sports equipment, animals, leave that at home. And going back to the digital devices, I would just stress that this is, again, such a unique experience to have that digital detox, and it's such a breath of fresh air to just be unplugged for the week and then focus on, relationship buildings and being in the moment, being where their feet are with the camp activities and with their new friends and old friends. All right, so if things end up lost and found, we collect all of our lost and found and display them in the dining hall throughout the week. Again, label, label, label. If we see things in lost and found, then we can quickly get them back where they belong. And then we will have the lost and found table out at the checkout process on Friday or Wednesday for the 1 week that's shorter. And so please check that out before you leave. And then if you get home and you realize you're missing something, please reach out within 2 weeks of camp, because anything beyond that, we donate. All right, and then for camper communication, as we mentioned, we will send out pre-session emails. Those will come from Grace and myself, and that will kind of recap your drop-off time, directions, packing lists, links to important things, all of the things we covered here, how to add gift card money, etc. And then we'll also provide this email, our Camp Ihduhapi Gmail address. So if you do want to email your campers, you can do that. Please limit your emails to a couple times a week, definitely not more than once a day. It's a lot of capacity for us to manage when we're printing off hundreds of emails and making sure they get out to the campers. And then just a reminder, check the spelling on the Gmail. Ihduhapi is spelled, it can get a little tricky, and if you turn around a couple letters, it can end up somewhere else and we don't get it. So so just double check the spelling of Ihduhapi. And then I would say if you're gonna send snail mail, go ahead and try to send that a couple days before maybe their session starts. But not too far in advance. It's harder for us to keep track when things come too far. And then of course, if they come too late, we don't want to miss giving them out to your camper. And then just a quick note about calls home. Again, we don't allow campers to make any calls home, and we typically don't put parents on the phone with their campers. But as I said, if we have any concerns about the overall well-being of your camper, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, social, or any kind of behavioral things, we will absolutely be in touch with you. Probably more than we need to or sooner than we need to, but we just like to take care of things and make sure you feel like you're in the loop. But other than that, we're not gonna, have times where we are making phone calls or that campers are making phone calls home. But yes, we would also call home if we feel like we could use some extra support in supporting your camper through homesickness or other things. All right, so every cabin will take a cabin photo on Sunday. So if you're able to arrive on time, that's super helpful, so we can guarantee that all of the campers end up in the cabin photo. We try to mail these home at the end of the session, so your camper will end up with a photo of their cabin. And then we also have some staff who will go around and take photos throughout the week, and we try to make sure that those are uploaded fairly frequently on our SmugMug account. And so the link is here. It's also in the handbook, and it'll go in the pre-camp email. And we often share the link through our Facebook account as well. And on occasion, we'll post on Instagram. All right, and then checkout at the end of the week is from 1 to 3 p.m. So it's the same time frame as check-in, but you can come whenever works best for you. Most important thing here is to bring your photo ID. We will sign campers out to adults who are authorized pickup. So if that's something you need to confirm, feel free to reach out to the customer service center with that. But it will be authorized pickups are emergency contacts, and then anyone who's listed as an authorized pickup. But we do need to see a photo ID. And then again, during this time, remember to check the lost and found, visit the camp store, and then pick up your meds too. That will be something that you pick up with the Health Pro. And then finally, if you have any questions, we'd love to do whatever we can to answer your questions ahead of time so you feel prepared to come out here for your camp session. The Customer Service Center is a great resource if you need to change any buddy requests, make a payment, have a question about a payment, etc. Their number is right here. Reach out to Grace or myself if you have really specific camp questions, but customer service is going to be your first stop for most things camp. And then in the summer, you can call the summer office number, which is listed, and we'll do our best to make sure someone answers that phone for you or gives you a call back as quickly as possible. And then there's a couple emails below that too, if you prefer email. And then hopefully this session answered some of your questions and you feel prepared, but we'd also be happy to see you out at our open house on Sunday, June 2nd from 2 to 4. Come stop by during that time frame. You can walk around camp, get a feel for the space, and meet a couple of the staff. Thank you for watching along with this, and just reach out if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.